Make sure you unmute yourself. What is up, everybody? I guess you didn't expect this. All right. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations. 2018 Innovation Award winner, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads and fathers. It's sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. Reached out to over 400,000 dads, fathers, and male caregivers around the world since 2020. And as always, like to say you're blessed, highly favored. Okay, I'm hearing some feedback. Chaz, are you using a laptop?
Yes.
I'm hearing a bit of feedback. So, yeah. All right. So when you're not talking, put yourself on mute. All right. Speaking of Chezu, speaking of Dr. Tachi, good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, what's going on?
Not much.
No, yeah, right, Dr. Tachi. Not much. 25,000 YouTube subscribers, not much. All right, okay.
Listen, it's the same as always. If you're looking for a new answer, it's not going to be new.
Okay. So what's been going on over the last few days? Chezu, you were here with us on Friday. Chezu had a big event to do this weekend. Did you survive it?
Yeah, no, I haven't survived it. I'm still planning it. Yeah.
When's it happening?
So it's happening on the 15th and also on the 20th, which is Easter.
The 15th is tomorrow.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, and is your partner aware of the event?
No, yeah, but he's not aware of the details.
Oh, do you want to give some of them here and see if you... Okay, I won't do that.
No, I cannot.
No, we won't. Okay, we'll keep that under manners, as we say in Jamaica. We'll keep it under manners. Dr. Tachi, there's got to be at least one or two things going on.
I mean, you know, the thing is when you're running a business, when particularly running a network, there's always something new, but then there's always nothing new. The thing is that I'm always busy. I'm always doing things.
I love that. There's always something busy and there's always nothing.
Well, you know, the funny thing is I will say this, because even though you may run a business, as both of you probably know, it's always helpful to have a business coach, right? So every morning I have business coaching. Like almost every day of the week I have business coaching.
Wow.
And so I had it this morning right before we came on here. And she did something a little bit different and really asked us to outline our offer, right? What is your one main offer? Who is your one main offer for? Those types of things. And even though I know, for some reason, I seem to always forget. So this was a good thing to let me know, and this is for everybody, that when it comes to something business-wise, one of my roadblocks is the working in the business. And when you're working in it, you can't work on it. So I need to get out of working in it so much. So that's what led me to, you know, as I was going through what I needed to answer for her today. So
okay, all right.
You asked, but I told.
And how long have you had this particular coach?
Oh, for a long time. Wow. I just actually, she does a free thing. Can I plug?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is, she has a free group on Facebook. It's called Her First Six Figures. She's a fractional COO, but it's not just for women. That is her major clientele, but there are men in it too. So it's designed to help you reach your first six figures through different things she does. So she does a free morning show every morning at 8:15 a.m. on YouTube, and anybody can join. You can join the group.
I think I'm gonna have to join in on that.
Please join.
I need to make six figures at least. I'd like to do that. That's fantastic.
Absolutely, and it's Shay Cannon, who's also a creator on Indie Soup.
Okay, all right. Fantastic. That is great. Dr. Tachi,
Yeah.
You'll be interested. I have a question for you. Are you pro or con green screen?
Okay. So
No, and okay, there's a reason why I asked Kirk Nugent this. He says he's con because he said he's seen too many green screen disasters.
I would rather, I am con for the most part. I would rather have you take the time and craft your background in a way that speaks to you and that can be somewhat consistent each time than the fickleness of a green screen. And most people don't know how to do it well anyway, because what people don't know, they think, oh, hey, just throw up a green screen behind me. No, you have to light the screen as well as yourself. And you have to be far enough away from the screen so you don't get green ring around you or blue ring if you're using a blue screen. So I think people don't know how to use it. It's just the fact of, oh, I could look like I'm on the beach, but you have a suit on, sir. Get off the beach. Nonsense. So I'm con for the most part, but there are some people who can do it really well. But even if you're a pro, even then it's really hard. But just make your background, your external background look good.
All right. Now, are you pro or con Dr. Vibe using green screen?
So here's the thing. I'm used to you using green screen. You've learned to master it to some extent.
I'm actually thinking about pulling away from it for some shows, slowly but surely.
Yes, but I am more natural background. If you can do natural background, I would. And here's the thing. People always think when I have lights and everything on, because I don't even have lights on today. I have the window. So I have a big window in front of me. So I said, I'll just use natural light. So when I have lights and everything on and the background, people think this is a green screen and thought for years I had been fooling them. I'm like, no, this is my house.
You can unmute, Chezu. Unmute.
Wait, sorry, I just wait. No. All this time I thought it was a green screen.
This is my house.
There's no way. There is no way. Wow.
Yeah, so I'm not saying that people have to have, I mean, this is a very large room. I'm not saying people have to have this amount of space, but there's so many things that you can do to make what you have work.
Beautiful.
All right. Well, already in the house, Teresa Boa is in the house saying good morning, everyone. So the Chezu posse are slowly but surely making themselves into the world. That is good. And I was watching Kirk Nugent, and I dropped people's names because they're good.
Yeah.
And he was talking about it, and I said, and I also learned from how to do the transparent overlay because I would like a logo in the background. Actually, I went on his live and I asked him, and he actually walked through the process in real time, which was wonderful because I'm not the greatest at doing that stuff, graphics. And I fooled around with it last night, so I hit it down. So especially if I'm not using a green screen on what you'll call it, non-office location, at least the logo will be part of the background with the transparent overlay. So feels good. Chezu, you're going, oh my goodness, that's her. Yeah, that's the Fort Lauderdale mansion.
Wow.
Mansion. Okay. You want to see the monstrosities they're building next door to me, then you can tell me if this is a mansion.
Honestly, it's so well designed. Oh my God.
Listen, in another life, not even another life, I'm doing it now because I have a t-shirt line. I wanted to be a fashion designer.
Wow.
I'm African. That didn't happen. So, that wasn't happening in a Nigerian household. So, maybe after you get your 17 degrees, then you can do what you like.
Yeah.
But I'd always been interested in fashion, which is why I have a t-shirt line now. But that also kind of spills over to design. Now, that doesn't mean I'm the best, but I like what I have. That's all that matters.
100%.
Beautiful.
Anything in the news that any of you want to chat about before we go to break? Anything that you want to? Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Unless Chesu, I've been talking for quite a bit. So Chesu, if you have something you want to share, go ahead.
No, I'm loving this. I'm loving this. You go right ahead.
Okay. Speaking of fashion, I don't know if you all have looked, but this has been a hot point on social media. I'm actually going to record a video about this. There has been, I watched a fashion vlogger yesterday on YouTube, and they were talking about the whole thing with China and basically saying, what? We don't need you. That's fine. Tax us 200%. We don't need you, because the U.S. market only constitutes 15% of their entire market of what they do.
Right.
So they're like, so basically, I can't remember who it was, but was it on BBC? He was being interviewed, and he said, we don't care. He said point blank, he said, we don't care. He said it twice. We don't care, because you all only constitute 15%. And so looking at that, there's also been this trend on top of that. So now you angered people because you called them, J.D. Vance called them peasants, right? We're borrowing money from Chinese peasants. He angered them that way. That's fine. And some people are like, well, yes, we were farming before all of this. We do come from peasants and we're proud of it. Okay. So there's that. Then the whole thing of now I'm going to put 2,000% tariffs on you. They're like, you think you're hurting us? Please, we're fine. So now what's happening is there is a backlash too by China. There's some Chinese creators or some Chinese people in factories that have been telling, the things that you think are made in America or made here, they're really made here. And let's show you how. So there's been like an outing of all these designer brands, particularly American brands that are creating things in China, and then maybe they're just being finished in the US. So that if you go to TikTok, it's all over TikTok.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been all over my For You page. And it's just like these $1,000 bags that are made in China, and then they're just taken to Italy to put the tag on them. And they can technically say, it's made in Italy because of the tag, but they're actually manufactured in China.
Supply chain. People really don't know about the supply chain. Good morning, Fitness IQ Cam. How are you this morning? Hope you and your family are fine and safe. See, these ladies are all over this social media thing. So whenever they're on, I can just leave it to them and say, what's a topic going on? Do either of you watch Don Lemon online?
I do. I'm a lemon head.
Yeah. He is getting really good. I mean, yeah. Go ahead, Dr. Chai. Before we go to break, go ahead.
Okay, so listen, when you look at what Don Lemon has been able to do, I think it's just a testament to how important these online platforms are, how important these apps are to the whole media landscape. The days of legacy media, my friends, I'm sorry to tell you, they're over. They're not over as an institution, but they're over as being the major institution, particularly in this country, particularly in the U.S. So Don Lemon is quickly approaching 700,000 subscribers on YouTube, and he's only been at it for a year, if it's even been a year yet.
Yeah, and also he just started going on Substack. He just, in the last 2 weeks, has gone on Substack. That's gonna be crazy.
Exactly. Now, and the thing is, though, what I don't want, as inspiring as that is, I don't want us, especially smaller creators, to compare ourselves to him. Remember, he came from legacy media, from CNN and other places. And so he had a following already. He just brought his following with him to where he was. So this also proves it's not about the platform, people. It's about you as a creator. If you have something good and you've gathered a community, they will follow you where you go. Nobody cares about CNN. So they care about the individual. So they followed him there.
Chesu, anything you want to add on that? I just laid it down.
No, she's put it. I'm just curious because I'm living under a rock. because I don't know who Don Lemon is. So I need to be more educated on who he is.
Well, and you know what? I wouldn't expect you to know necessarily who he is, because I think sometimes Americans make the assumption that, oh, everybody should know. Well, no, Don Lemon is an American broadcaster. So he was an anchor and a personality on CNN for very many years until, has it been maybe like 2 or 3 years where he was let go from CNN, something like that? He then was supposed to have a show on X. After he did an interview with Elon Musk, Elon Musk probably apparently didn't like that. So he 86'd that deal, got rid of that. And so he was finally like, you know what? There's this whole platform with millions of people that watch every day. Let me take my efforts there. So that's who Don Lemon is.
Yeah, there you go. And Wayne Harris is in the house. Good morning, all, Mr. Harris. Hope you are doing fine and keeping safe. Wayne Harris in the building there. Okay, Wayne Harris is in the building. Beautiful. All right. Okay, we're going to go to break because who's here today? It's the second Monday of the month, and it's just before Easter. Oh, boy. Perfect timing. Perfect timing. We are going to be back after the break with Carolyn Nichol. She's in the green room. I don't see her camera up yet, so I'm just crossing my fingers as our camera's working, but we're going to talk about the pros and cons of intermittent fasting. Hot topic these days. So we'll be back in about 30 seconds, and Carolyn's going to lay it down like she does about intermittent fasting. So here we go. Black Men Can Talk, a show where Black Canadian men come together to have real unfiltered conversations about life, culture, and community.
There is that weight that is put on Black men in order to show their worth.
But I think our children are now in a space, in a place where they are doing better. You know, as somebody who works with young people.
And in a lot of cases, a lot of the impact that they've seen happens after they're gone.
All right, you catch that every Sunday evening, 8 p.m., Eastern time, 5 p.m. Pacific. Black Man Can Talk with myself, Sadat Osborne, and Kofi Morris. So I'm happy Carolyn is cammed out because I was wondering, I don't see her. Also in the house, Opal Inspired says, good morning, everyone. Fantastic. All right, let's get through some stuff before we get to this. Subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. I haven't checked. I think we're at 1,780 subscribers. Not sure, but I will tell you something. The views over the last month on the YouTube channel been out of bounds. Like, I'm being blessed putting up YouTube shorts that are giving over 1,000 views, but YouTube has tweaked the way they calculate views. So it's a little bit skewed, but I'll take it. 100%. Also follow the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Join the Discord group. You can email me at dr.vibe@vibeshow.com or click on the link in Discord to advertise your business product or service on our show. Email me. Also, the Fort Lauderdale Powerhouse runs something called Indie Soup Media, which how many YouTube subscribers at the moment, approximately?
I think it's 26,700.
Low, in how long?
Just 1 year.
There you go. And only 4% of all YouTube channels have over 10,000 subscribers. Enough said. That's where you can watch it. You want to touch base with Dr. Tachi? Best way is on Instagram at dr_TACHI. And Chezu, also on the gram, as they say it, at Ches_rights. All right. Now, Carolyn, I saw you for a moment. Now I don't see you. So until I see you, we're not going to bring you up on stage because we need to see your shining face, your rays of energy. All right. Destiny Stavery, good morning from Fort Erie. Very nice.
Ooh.
The Macmillan Group, mortgages and real estate. Thanks for the insight on the green screen versus natural background. Add some use. You know what I am going to put into effect? Oh, Carolyn has jumped on, but she is on now. I'm going to do a little poll because Dr. Vibe is interactive. stuff. We're going to take a really quick poll. So we're going to ask, what do you know about, okay, let me just put it on, and then you guys can answer it. If you're watching on YouTube, you either ask yes, no, or not sure. So the question is, as I bring it up, oh, here we go. Got it. Do you know about intermittent fasting? Because, Carolyn does know about this once in a while. And so if you're on YouTube, answer the question, yes, no, not sure. So I'll take it off. And she is on the line now, and I have a feeling she's up north. Are you up north?
I am up north. Yes, I am.
Good
Far
morning.
away from Toronto.
and Fort Lauderdale.
Hello.
And far away from Florida too, right?
Yes, I'm far away from Florida, but that's okay. There's still snow here.
Snow.
Yes, there's still snow here. Yeah, but I have officially put my snowshoes away because it's not knee high anymore. It's coming.
Just
back.
ankle deep. Okay.
Okay, what has been going on?
Well, a lot. This is a really busy time of year for the Energy Shack and also the bakery. So at the Energy Shack, we have our plant-based expo coming up on May 4th. So where we are showcasing dozens of local vendors that have some sort of plant-based product on their shelves, or some of them are home-based businesses, but we are showcasing local entrepreneurs that have, whether it's food or clothing or hair care or skin care, but everything plant-based. So that's really exciting. That's in Scarborough. Tickets are only $5 to get in. It's $15 at the door, and we want the place packed. We are telling you, bring your whole family, because we even have a kids zone, so we can occupy the kids for a while. And then there will be 2 cooking demos. We are going to do 2 free cooking demos, as well as a health talk on the diet trends and what you need to know.
Oh.
Okay.
We're going to go to Canada, Dr. Tachi. Jump on that next flight.
Not at this time of year you ain't catching her. I know a little bit of that.
Catch me in July.
So that's happening, and at the end of April, we have our very last retreat for the year. So if anybody's looking for a 4-day escape, we take you up to the Windermere Resort, saunas and cold plunges, but we also feed you all the organic food, the vegetable juices, do the therapies. We teach you natural remedies. We teach you cooking demos. It is so peaceful up there in Muskoka. The accommodations are superb, but the company is incredible, and the learning is just astounding. The amount of information. So it is the last retreat of the year. So if you've got April 24th to 27th, and you can block that off in your calendar, you will want to come to our last retreat.
Okay. Fitness IQ says, when's the date again?
May 4th. And I have connected with our good friend Roger Dundas. So the tickets are available on Culture Tix.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Oh.
Eventbrite.
Yes.
So we did set it up with Eventbrite, but we've been pushing everybody over to Culture Tix. That's where we're trying to sell all of the tickets. It's set up that way. So get your tickets, support Energy Shack, local entrepreneurs, and Roger Dundas and all the good work he's doing.
Yes, and Roger Dundas, him and Camille Dundas run buyblacks.com.
Yeah.
Black Canada's #1 online magazine. Plus, they're starting a new venture, Culture Tix, which is an alternative for ticket purchasing from Eventbrite.
Yes.
Oh, is it just Canada, or is it also the U.S.?
I think it would probably be North American worldwide, but if you want, I can certainly generate a conversation with you and Roger about that if you wish.
Sure.
All right, fantastic. So Fitness IQ says can't escape until May, tax season, and then he says, "Oh, May 4th." So it looks like you're gonna have her. All right. Before everyone else, probably the only thing I'll get a chance to ask is, can you define intermittent fasting? And then I'm gonna probably shut up because everyone else will have questions. Well, can you define it? And then after that, the ladies, you can ask questions. People in the audience, you can ask questions just to really show you. People have answered the poll. Yes, 100%. Say they know about it. All right. All right. So
you're going to be so surprised with the information. Maybe for those who know me, you might not be surprised, but there is a counterfeit intermittent fasting that most of society is doing, and it is actually creating negative effects to the body. So I'm here to show you the science behind intermittent fasting and how to do it properly, but in a definition.
Before you start, two last things. Fitness IQ goes, good question, Dr. Tachi, about it being, and then Roger Dundas says, he's here. Good morning. Thank you so much, Carolyn. You are the best. All right. And Roger, if you can answer in the comment, is it just Canadian based or is it worldwide based? Because Dr. Tachi may want to chat with you. Carolyn, the stage is yours. Mouth is done.
Well, you asked what the definition is. So definition of intermittent fasting is a calorie reduction for a period of time that forces your body to use fat as fuel. So I'll explain that a little bit further as we go. I have a PowerPoint, but I can just talk through it. We don't have to show it. But that's the definition. It's a calorie reduction that forces your body to go into what we call ketosis. So where your body's no longer using glucose for your fuel, but it's using fat for fuel. And that's one of the key benefits of intermittent fasting, but not the only one. But I will show you that we're not all doing it right. So we might be intermittent fasting, but we're not getting the major benefits of going into ketosis because the other hours are not proper or the timing is off.
Okay. I'm curious when you say the hours are not proper or the timing is off. Is it because I've known people to do the fasting like 3 days and then they eat some food, or some people do it like they'll fast for a couple hours in a day and then eat later. So how do you get the best like benefits from it?
So that's exactly what we're going to talk about. I don't want to jump right there because I first want to talk about those are perfect questions because that's the thing. There seems to be some basic understanding of intermittent fasting and everybody's talking about it as if it's a new trend, but the truth is it's like 6,000 years old. So intermittent fasting is not new. But society, social media period likes to come up with new fads and trends, but I'm going to tell you there's nothing new under the sun. We keep just putting another name on it. The ketogenic diet is just Atkins made new. It's not, there's nothing new. And Atkins is something that is also not new. So anyway, not going there, but we'll answer those questions, but I do want to kind of just warm everybody up with the benefits of intermittent fasting.
You can do your PowerPoint if you want. It's up to you.
Well, I don't want to kick everybody off the screen because I love these beautiful ladies' faces.
Oh, well, I can put myself at the bottom. I can put myself at the bottom and you don't have to look at me. No, I'm cool with that. No, I'm cool. I can put myself at the bottom. People don't want to see me.
Dr. Vibe, you can also take
how many screens can fit on.
Just put it on.
Just put it on. Okay.
Just put it on.
But Dr. Vibe, you can also take the words off of the screen until she's finished.
Yeah, I can do that too. So we got lots of vibe here. Get this PowerPoint up. And again, if you have questions, family, please ask. All right, we got the PowerPoint. See? And what I'm going to do, Carolyn, I'm going to do this. There we go.
So generally, intermittent fasting is not eating for only an 8-hour window. This is generally eating for only an 8-hour window and fasting for 16 hours. You can also do a 5-2 method. So again, this is not my information. This is general information about intermittent fasting where like you were saying, it was like you eat for a certain number of days and you don't eat for a certain number of days. So you can do the 5-2 method where you're eating for 5 days And then for 2 days, you're fasting or drastically reducing your calories. So there's a couple different ways to do it. So what are the benefits of intermittent fasting before we get into how do I do this right? So when you intermittent fast, what I think we need to understand is that we don't really think about, when we think about the body's waste mechanism, we think about the food that we eat comes out in the toilet. We pee it out, we poop it out. We might sweat out toxins, right? But what we don't realize is that every day there's so much metabolic waste to do every function of the human body, to get your insulin created, to get your muscles to grow, to tear away some of your muscles, to use the calcium that's in your bones. There's so much metabolic waste. I mean, just picture yourself in the kitchen preparing, dinner or whatever meal. Like, there's always going to be waste, even from your healthy vegetables and fruits. There's always going to be scraps, right? So we are producing so much metabolic waste, and your body's designed to deal with that, especially through the spleen. But the thing is that when you are constantly not getting rid of your metabolic waste, when there's too much of a waste backup, that really creates a lot of brain fog, and it actually affects your thinking and it affects your memory. So when you go into fasting, whether it's full fasting, 24 hours or more, or doing this intermittent fasting, you're giving your body an opportunity to get rid of excess waste in the body, to get rid of that metabolic waste. And it also creates, when you go through fasting, you create a hormone called BDNF. And this is lacking in a lot of people that have depression, anxiety disorders. But when you fast, your body's forced to create that hormone. So as far as thinking and memory, intermittent fasting or fasting period is extremely helpful. Questions, thoughts, reflections before I move on?
Ladies, live audience, any questions?
I do. Well, I do have a question. So this is just really basically the way we're supposed to eat. Is this what I'm coming to the conclusion of?
You're a wise woman. Yeah, like seriously, I haven't even got there yet. That's the final conclusion of the whole matter. Is that intermittent fasting is a way of life, but I got to show you how to do it in the circadian rhythm, because what we're doing today is a mess. It's a mess, and it's causing more health detriments than good. We're not even accomplishing these things. The only thing we're doing is giving our digestive system a break, the way that society is teaching us to intermittent fast for the most part. Yes, Dr. Tachi, this is a way of life. No turning back from here.
So no, I can't claim I didn't see it. Okay, thank you.
Chezu, any questions?
I had a few questions because, okay, so you say, if, like, as Dr. Tashi said, that if we do it, if this is how we're supposed to live our life, and this is how it should be long term. Now, the way we're doing it now, which is probably not the right way, and you say it has like long-term negative effects, is it better for someone to at least try and do it the wrong way than not to do it at all? Or, you know what I'm trying to say? Like,
absolutely.
How does it work? Is it better for somebody to just try and do it anyway, even if they're not doing it to the T? Or is it they have to follow it brick by brick, textbook definition, otherwise it won't work?
That's a great question. So I believe in really like going towards the perfect plan all the time. Are we going to get there? Maybe not tomorrow, but I do believe that when you receive information, to take steps towards it. So as long as you're taking steps towards it, and I can show you how doing it the wrong way, you can still add some right things so it's not terrible. But there are some people doing it completely the wrong way, and that's trouble. So to answer your question, yes, you can still get some benefits if you're not doing it perfectly right. But I hope that to share some information that you can glean from this, that even if you're not doing it perfectly right, and you might be doing it in the wrong timing, there would still be some benefits and not so much detriment.
Okay. Go ahead, Dr. Tachi.
Yes.
It's the ladies. I'm just sitting in the background. I have some things, but I want you ladies to drive the ship. I'm just steering it. Go.
Okay, because I know you probably have some comments to get in there. So with this intermittent fasting, does sleep count as part of that time that you're not fasting, or does this only have to be during woke hours?
In fact, Dr. Tachi, the sleep component is the time that when you are fasting during that hour, so it counts. And that's when the healing is rapid and complete. So maybe not always, depending on your health issue, might not always be complete in one night, but that's when the most healing happens, is during those sleep hours. So yes, much of your 16 hours, 7 to 8 of those hours should be spent sleeping.
Okay. So now it makes sense why you push so much getting a good 7 to 8 hours of sleep.
So while we sleep, and this is another conversation for another time, but just to put that in there, while you sleep, your body, it should be in an almost paralyzed state. Your body naturally paralyzes you so that only the brain is really functioning and working. And so when the body does that, because there's so much healing that happens while we sleep. Hormones are balanced, cytokines from your immune system messengers, they're produced. Your brain literally releases a cerebral fluid, kind of like a car wash, which flushes the metabolic waste out of the brain. Those processes aren't happening while you're awake, but they don't happen properly. And this is a little tidbit of information for the next slides, is they don't happen properly if energy is being used to digest. Okay.
Question. I'm going to get one little thing here is, are there any benefits unique to women or men when it comes to fasting?
I would just say that the metabolic rate is different. So men tend to have a little bit of a faster metabolism than women. So I do not change my fast or my detoxes for a man or for a woman, but I do recognize that there's two things. One, a man's metabolism is a little faster, so they get hungry quicker. Where there's a lot of women who can go for long periods without eating because their metabolism's not always screaming at them, unless they're quite athletic. However, men are generally disconnected from their emotions and food, where women are connected to their food with their emotions more than men. So women struggle to fast a little bit more because we love food. We love food. It makes us happy. Where men are focused in their mind, they're logical thinkers, and they're like, all I need to get is to day 3 of fasting and I'm good to go. I don't care about food. I'm eating to live. I'm not living to eat. So I find men do better in the fasting. Women struggle, but it's not because of their physical necessarily, but more of the mental.
All right. Go ahead, Dr. Tachi.
Well, to that point, I was going to ask if it was societal, because generally women tend to be the ones preparing the food. They're the ones tasting it ahead of time. Yes. They're the ones that are doing the family gatherings. And of course, there has to be food there. Like, who's bringing the such and such? Is such and such making it? So, and then you become connected with a particular dish. So is that the societal aspect of it, part of it as well?
100%. I hear it from, we're putting clients, dozens of them every week through the fasting. And I do see more women than I do men. And that's, not because more women are sick, but more women are easier to ask for help than men are really. And yeah, it's a struggle. And so because they're mostly the ones preparing the food, and I have to cook for my family, and you're not letting me eat, Carolyn. And I'm like, well, yeah, well, chew the food and spit it out. Please don't swallow. So for sure that society has a real major role to play in that. But I will tell you that 99% of our clients that go through the detox go through it successfully. Like they do from beginning to end. It's very rare I get somebody who just can't do it. When your health is driving you and like even after one day of fasting, you feel so good. Which really leads us into this next understanding is that your heart benefits so greatly from fasting. And that's simply because digestion requires a lot of blood to come into the stomach gut. And when your heart doesn't have to pump blood so that the stomach is constantly having this blood flow happening during digestion, what a break your heart gets. And if during those fasting times you're drinking lots of water, your blood is so thin, your heart is like, woo, I'm on vacation. I love this. And so it's very good for heart health. And on the heart health, because when you intermittent fast or when you're fasting and creating that caloric deficit, where your body burns fat for fuel instead of glucose, you actually get rid of stored cholesterol. So the whole cardiovascular system is benefited through fasting or intermittent fasting when done properly.
Okay, just want to do a reset here. We're here with Carolyn Nichol of the Energy Shack Juice Bar. Can't forget, Certified Holistic Nutritionist, talking about the pros and cons of it. And you'll see in the comments on most of my platforms, there's the contact information, EnergyShackJuiceBar.com, email info@EnergyShackJuiceBar, Instagram @The Energy Shack Juice Bar, Facebook, Energy Shack Juice Bar, phone number 647-637-6755. She is global, people. She's not just based in Canada, US. She is global. If you have any questions about physical health for her, email her at info@EnergyShackJuiceBar.com. Say you saw in the Morning Vibe. As always, consultations. If you mention Dr. Vibe or the Morning Vibe, email her and you'll get it for $49 instead of $110. And there's the link for consultations. Carolyn, do you want to continue on? There are some questions for you. Do you want questions or do you want
questions?
Okay, before we go further in your presentation, Fitness IQ gives an upside down smile about how many hours of sleep. She says that she never gets that. Also, Serena Wills. Well, it wouldn't be you without Serena Wills in the building. Good morning, everyone. Mitu has a question. Magoo says, what are the origins of fasting? I see it is mostly associated with religious practices. Where did we learn about this phenomenon? Good question.
A great question.
Go for it.
Well, so for myself, I am a Christian and do believe the world is only 6,000 years old. And fasting goes back all the way to Genesis. So this fasting is really the beginning of time. God calls his people to fast, sometimes for repentance, but it's mostly, it's a humility thing. We're so full of pride, us people. We do one thing right and we think we're superstars, which there's nothing wrong with that to some degree, but nobody wants to be around a person who's constantly on a pride horse. So when you have food available to you and you have to exercise discipline to actually not eat it and not take that attitude of I can eat what I want whenever I want because I can, to exercise that kind of discipline, it's very humbling. And it also teaches you self-control. Because one thing that I've noticed in society, especially today, but I mean, it probably goes back to Genesis, is we're lacking self-control and we're lacking discipline. Most of us don't have it. We're in a world where everything's instant. We can get what we want, when we want, at whatever time we want. But that doesn't mean that we should be indulging in that. And so when you can exercise discipline and you can exercise self-control, that builds character and that builds humility. So fasting is back down. And on the other side, it also increases your health. It increases longevity. It gives your organs longer life, your digestive system healing. So it's a really divine practice, but you don't have to be, following a religion to fast. But it's very humbling, self-control, and really good for the health.
All right. Fantastic. I'm going to let you continue on. There is another question, but do you want to take another question? Or do you want to continue on with your presentation?
I'll take one more question.
All right. Next question. I got to keep up here because things are going. It was up and now it's gone.
It's there. It says, are there any special rules that apply to those in menopause to do intermittent fasting?
Good stuff.
No, in fact, I think that the older you get, the more regular fasting you should do, to be honest, because I just joined the 50 club, and I don't want to say it doesn't get better from here, but the reality is I feel great at 50, but like naturally all of your systems begin to decline. I mean, that's just, you produce naturally less hydrochloric acid, you produce less elastin, you produce, that's why we get wrinkly, a little bit gray hair. So the more you fast, the more you give your body that break to recover, because we just don't recover like we did in our 20s and 30s. So speaking from one person in that age group to another, fasting more regularly as you get older is actually recommended. However, if you're very underweight or under a lot of medication, you may not be able to fast. So please talk to a health practitioner or somebody like me before you jump into that.
Serena Wills has a quick question. She says, I'm sorry, I may have missed it. How many days do you intermittent fasting, or can you do it once a week or so?
Yeah, so I'm going to answer that in a minute.
Okay. All right, so let's go. She also says, great question. She says, I'm experiencing menopause and gaining more weight, although eating clean.
Yeah, the fasting, I think Serena and I have talked about that. The fasting's a little bit of a struggle for her, but the fasting is it's the big one. Yeah.
Okay. Keep on going.
So intermittent fasting also increases your endurance. You might think I'm going one full day or 16 hours without any protein. Most of us are over proteining ourselves, but it never fails. I've worked with a lot of athletes. When I get them to do the intermittent fasting, or when I get them to fast, their performance always increases once they break the fast. And it's never failed. I'm not an athlete, but I definitely have a pretty consistent and high intensity workout every day. And I fast a full 24, 36 hours every week. And the next morning, I can always do more, lift more, go longer. It never fails. I always bring my game up after my fasting. So, and that's because your body cleans out and gets rid of a lot of stored toxins, and you give it a chance to repair. As well as it gets rid of stored glucose. So stored glucose actually slows you down because glucose is very acidic in the bloodstream. So if you are a diabetic, you might think, oh, I can't fast, I have diabetes. Actually, that's your cure. But again, you'd have to talk to a health practitioner like myself or somebody of that nature, because you have to do the fasting properly. But we have 100% success rate at bringing down blood sugar naturally. I have never met a diabetic, a pre-diabetic, or even a type 1 diabetic whose blood sugar I wasn't able to get down naturally. Most of our clients are cured from their diabetes. So how do we do that? We put them on intermittent fasting, and we get them to fast regularly. For some, it's a little bit of a longer process depending on the severity. Others, it happens in like 3 days. They're cured. So intermittent fasting does all of those things, as well as reduces inflammation because it promotes your tissue repair. You give your body a break. No more buildup of so much toxins. Your body can be like, oh, finally, I can heal these knees. I can get rid of this inflammation. We are eating all the time. And it's really nice to get a break. And so it also increases our lifespan. And this is like an actual study that was done, that 13% increase of lifespan when you are regularly fasting.
All right. More.
Those are the benefits.
All right. All right. Okay. Any questions, comments from my lovely co-hosts or anyone out there? I think we did we have no, I don't know if we had another question.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So I'm curious, trying to play devil's advocate here. If somebody has maybe a fear or a phobia around eating disorders, but they want the benefits of the fasting, they want to get into it, but maybe when they start doing it, they go overboard, and maybe they do the 2 days and then they do 3 and they get used to not eating at all. What would you say to someone like that who wants to do it, but maybe they're afraid of developing a disorder in the process?
Yeah, that's a good question, and it's real. We work with a lot of clients that have very unhealthy relationships with food. And I work with also a lot of people that are extremists. It's like, I can go 30 days on just juice, but then they do 30 days of garbage, so you have to be careful with that as well. And so that's why I like our guided programs, because then we have a nutritionist who's calling you, staying in touch with you. And the fasting can be great, but the truth is, it's how or what you're eating in the eating periods that really cause the healing. Because if you're intermittent fasting and during your fasting times, you're giving your body a great break, but in the 8 hours of eating period, you ate so much garbage that 16 hours is almost in vain. So we really try to teach you, and we like our guided program so that we can help you learn a proper, healthy balance of eating during your eating time so that your fasting times are effective.
I have a question too. And I don't know if you're going to touch on this, but for example, for Muslims during Ramadan, when it comes time to break their fast, they do it with something like a date, for example. Is there something particular when you do go to eat after coming off of your fast? What are the types of things you should be eating?
Yeah, very good question. So if you're doing long periods of fasting, so not just intermittent fasting. So during intermittent fasting, you go right into your normal eating because you've really only had a 16-hour break. Okay. So when you have gone 24, 48 hours of no food, and really even 24 doesn't make that much difference to your system, but when you've gone 36 to 48 hours of not eating, you don't want to jump into an oatmeal breakfast or toast and eggs. You want to go into natural, fresh foods like a big salad or a bowl of fruits or some melons that are very cleansing. You want something raw, fresh, that has enzymes in it, and slowly break your body into eating again, because the truth is, to digest cooked food, your pancreas has to produce enzymes. When you eat fruits or you eat salad, they have enzymes in it. So your pancreas doesn't have to do that much work. Last thing you want to do to that group of people that were just on vacation is throw a pile of work on their desk as soon as they walk in. Like, that's just so overwhelming. You want to slowly get back into the groove, right? So same thing, you don't want to shock your pancreas into having to produce all these enzymes and manufacture them right away. Get your gallbladder to produce all this bile to digest fats. So you go slowly into it by having some fruits, salads, some live juices, things like that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Circadian rhythms.
I have another question.
No, I'm just sitting back and enjoying the ride. Go for it, ladies.
Is this something that can it be a lifestyle? Can this fasting be a lifestyle, or can someone still reap the benefits from it by doing it short term? So somebody listens and they're like, okay, I love all these benefits. and I just want to do it for a short period of time, is it going to be effective, or it has to be a way of life? Like you have to do it your whole life.
Well, wouldn't you know, the slogan for the Energy Shack is, it's a way of life. But I do believe in meeting people where they're at. And I also believe that if you're stressed out over, oh, I have to fast again. Oh, I can't eat. Oh, I'm not allowed to eat that. Like, you know, I have, in my history, I've been doing this for 12 years, but there's so much research. I don't know if I'm forgetting the documentary, but he happily ate a Big Mac every single day of his life for 9 years, healthy as a horse. And I've met stressed out vegans that are so sick. So if you are miserable about doing fasting or eating healthy, it's actually to your detriment. So if you can look at this and say, you know what, this is a goal I'd like to work towards, and just gently get yourself there, that's great. If you feel like, you know what, I'm chronically ill, I need to get there fast, that's when you'd hire somebody like my organization to coach you to get you there a little quicker. But it is a way of life, and that's what I'm going to show you right now. What are the actual times of doing it, and what does this way of life look like? Because that's the big question of the day. Intermittent fasting, great, but when you do it and what you're eating and how you're doing it, that's the game changer.
Okay, well, tell us, give us a lowdown. I'm seeing the times on the clock.
So here's the thing: whether you're a religious person, God-fearing person, or an atheist, nobody can deny that we were designed with a circadian rhythm. Science has proven it. We naturally have an internal clock. We naturally have a circadian rhythm. It's the same for every human being. We can create a secondary circadian rhythm, like somebody who works nights. They create their own circadian rhythm, but this circadian rhythm still stands. Okay? So you can create a second sort of like, you know, I'm fine and I'm working at night and I'm not tired anymore. That doesn't mean that this disappears. It just means you've created an extra layer that your body has had to make to cope through that. So whenever we go against our circadian rhythm, homeostasis, the balance that keeps the human body in check, knows all your level of nutrients and water, whenever you go against that, you'll get out of balance. And that's ultimately how health issues and disease occur. Disease is not a bad thing. It's your body saying, I'm out of balance. So when you can eat and live within your circadian rhythm, everything else in life is a piece of cake. Okay? A gluten-free, sugar-free piece of cake. Okay.
Wow.
So let's look at the circadian rhythm. Let's just go to when you wake up in the morning, okay? When you're getting up in the morning, or that first part of the morning, your body temperature is at its lowest. During the early hours of the morning, 6, and then as we get into the regular morning, 7, 8 o'clock, your melatonin stops, and now the body starts to produce serotonin. So we're having a hormone shift. Your blood pressure starts to go up because your cortisol begins to rise to give you energy through the day. As the sun begins to rise, metabolism goes up. At 12 noon, you have the most alertness of your day, the best coordination of the day, the fastest metabolism of the day, the fastest reaction time. This happens during your 12 to 3 o'clock. So metabolism is the highest at noon, just like the sun is the highest. And after 3:30, as the sun makes its descent, guess what, friends? Everything slows down. So now your metabolism begins to slow down. Now your blood pressure will start rising a bit because your body temperature starts rising. Your melatonin secretion starts. You also go through an entire hormone balancing. Insulin is the lowest after 5, 6 o'clock. You don't produce much insulin in the evening. So everything you can see is taking this shift where during these early hours, from about 5, 6 o'clock until about 3:30, that's when metabolism's the fastest. That's when the body temperature is the lowest, but the cortisol is the highest. That's when thinking everything occurs. Does it make any sense at all that you would not fuel your body with the right nutrients during those times? Does this intermittent fasting, the way media teaches us to fast and not eat until 12 or 1 o'clock, and then when your body slows down after 1 o'clock, we start putting in our meals. We have our first meal around 12 or 1 o'clock, and then at around 7 or 8, we have our second meal, and we fast from like 8 or 9 o'clock until noon again. That's just lack of discipline, because it's really easy not to eat in the morning, but it's really difficult to not eat at night. But the truth is that you end up sleeping on that food when insulin's the lowest, hormones are trying to balance, your body's trying to heal itself, your temperature is the highest because it's trying to kill off any pathogens or parasites, but it can't because you put so much food into your system. And you put food into your system when metabolism is the slowest. But when you wake up and you have a very high nutrient dense meal in the morning, you drink nothing but water all day, at noon, 12, 1 or 2 o'clock, you have a big meal, a healthy meal, a big salad, your cooked food, and the rest of the evening, you let that meal digest, that you're just drinking water, herbal tea, and you get yourself to sleep at night. Now your body goes to bed on an almost empty stomach as you move into this intermittent fasting. Wow. When you sleep, your body's like, I can heal this woman. I can get rid of the waste because she hasn't added to it. You wake up feeling like a champion, ready to take on your day and hungry and ready to eat. Boy, I'm going to tone down my passion a little bit.
No, don't do that. Go for it.
It just makes me crazy that I'm going to tell you, truth is never popular. What I'm saying is not popular. Nobody wants to give up dinner. They want to give up breakfast. Truth is not popular. And so that's the reality. When I see everybody doing something, I know not to follow that crowd. I know there's got to be something wrong. When social media is blowing something up, there's probably a lot of error in it. Because digestion requires the most energy of the human body, more than your cardiovascular system, your endocrine system, your neurological system, your immune system. Digestion takes the most energy.
Okay.
So,
Question from one of the producers. Says, good talk. Just curious about what some doctors said in the past that breakfast is very essential in the most times of food. They said especially for brain functionality. What is your take on this?
Absolutely, because that's when cortisol is the highest. And if you put caffeine in your body when cortisol is rising in the morning, you kill that cortisol. It's an instant hormone imbalancer. So the worst thing you can do is wake up with a dehydrating cup of coffee or black tea, because every cup of caffeine, you lose 2 cups of water in the morning. You've just gone through dehydration while you're sleeping. You have to hydrate. So yes, you do need that healthy breakfast in the morning after 2 glasses of water.
Now, two questions. So for me, I know people talk about, starting with the water in the morning, but it nauseates me to drink water on an empty stomach in the morning. Now, if I've worked out, I'm fine. If it's later in the day, I'm okay. But for some reason in the morning, it bothers my stomach to just drink plain water. So I have to end up doing something first so that I can drink water if it's going to be in the morning. Do you have suggestions for that, or any reason why you think that may be?
Yeah, so Dr. Tachi, what I would do is see how, I don't know when your last meal is, but it could be very nauseating because food is still in its digestion process. And you slept on that food. So I don't know what would happen, because I've heard that before, that people can't eat in the morning, it makes them nauseous. They can't drink in the morning, it makes them nauseous. So they'd rather just wait till 10 or 11 to start. But when I cut your meal off at 3 o'clock and you haven't eaten since 3 in the afternoon, and you wake up in the morning, you wake up very thirsty. I think your signals are off. So you'll wake up very thirsty, and you should be able to take in that water. If not, go with like a peppermint tea, a soursop tea, some sort of a herbal tea. But I would also try doing 1 or 2 days fast to reset your system, and then see how your body feels drinking water in the morning.
Okay, fantastic. 3 o'clock, you say? Okay. Also, so going back to the circadian rhythms, should we be, since we're looking at energy being very high at noon, and then you said muscle, was that at 7? I don't remember. So is that really ideally the time we should be exercising?
Exercising actually should happen in the morning. That's the ideal because of your cortisol release in the morning. So the best kind of exercise is to happen in the morning. But you will find that your muscle strength and all of that happens in the evening because your body has repaired from all of the exercise that you've done in the day, because it takes 12 to 24 hours to start to repair those muscle tissues. And so that happens in the evening, which is really a beautiful thing. So to do some stretching at night, to stretch those muscles, to help them with that process, that's great. But exercise should be done in the morning.
Thank you.
Okay.
And I have a question as well. So say somebody has gotten to a point where they want to do this and it's something that they're thinking about, but their mind isn't there yet. As a holistic nutritionist, how do you bring people to a point where their mind is in tune with following the program and, they're mentally prepared for what they're getting themselves into?
So that's a good question, because it is a mental game more than anything else. And so that's why we usually start them off with like complete food abstinence for 2 or 3 days. It sounds miserable, and that sounds kind of counterproductive for somebody who mentally even isn't ready. But when you have an accountability partner, which is what we offer through the programs, someone who's calling you, encouraging you, and staying with you, when you realize, I didn't think I could give up one meal and I haven't eaten for 3 days, you go to a whole new level of mental strength that you didn't even know you had before. And that's really what our programs are about. I spent some time in the military, and I realized for myself when I was younger that, when the sergeant said, okay, this is the obstacle course you're going to do, and we had all of our equipment, our guns, our rucksack, everything on, and I'm like, I don't think I can do that once. And so we had done that once, and I sat down and I'm like, I can't believe he did it. And he said, get up and do it again. And I'm like, get up and do it again. That day I did it 7 times. I didn't think I was going to be able to do it once. And I realized this is a master machine, this body that we have. It's all up here. My sergeant tells me to go, I'm going to go. So I really believe in trying to help people pull them out of their comfort zone, because I think we put limits on ourselves that we're taught, we learn, or through experiences. But when you can push yourself to a place of, self-control, and you begin to exercise that with a partner cheering you along the way, it's so empowering. And then the rest of it becomes a lot easier. Yeah. So going through that fasting now, if it's like totally miserable, I just had a client and she's like, I can't do it. I've tried 3 times. I can't do this fast. I said, okay, have the juice, have a salad, or have some fruits a little later. It doesn't have to be no. It can just be a little bit. So let's just go there. So that happens once in a while. But most people, once they go through more than 24 hours of fasting, not just this intermittent fasting, more than 24 hours of fasting, their mind is actually strengthened because cravings go away, digestion is better, and your body's fueling you to just keep going.
All right. Serena Will says, I wish I could fast one day. One day she wishes she could fast. Teresa has a question. Says, are there any special rules that apply to those in menopause to do with intermittent fasting?
Yeah, we went through that question already.
And then Serena says, exercise done or after you eat breakfast?
Definitely before.
Okay. All right. Good.
Yeah, eat when your body's just like, now I am super hungry, feed me.
So I want to talk about some potential cons. Are there any, what are some of the potential risks or downsides of intermittent fasting?
So if you're underweight, intermittent fasting is probably going to burn more fat in your body than you have to give. So if you're underweight, you're going to need a third small meal. And although fasting is very healing, maybe you could do 24 hours once a month. But for those that are super underweight and need to put weight on their body, they should not be doing intermittent fasting. Those who are on medication that require food, you can't eat nothing. But I mean, our job is to help you heal from those issues so that you don't require so much medication. But there are some people that are on medication that require food, and you can't take your meds at night with nothing in your stomach.
Magoo is saying Ms. Carolyn is talking that talk. Serena Wills with a question. Does fasting help break cravings and or addictions?
So it does if the 8 hours of eating is done right. So if during your 8 hours you're having takeout, you're having toast and eggs and cheese, you're having coffee and chocolate, and then you just go 16 hours of nothing, you're going to go back to all that bad habit. But if during those 8 hours of eating, your breakfast is a bowl of fresh fruit with maybe some gluten-free bread and avocado, your lunch is a big salad with some chickpeas and sweet potato, your 16 hours is going to be like very, very healing. So it can for sure, but it can only do that if your 8 hours are done right.
Another question. Magoo says, does sugar in the morning mess with your energy levels throughout the day?
It does, because cortisol is inhibited by sugar, because when you consume sugar, now you need insulin to rise. We've got too much hormone action happening here because cortisol is also a hormone. So now your blood sugar rises, your energy goes up, and then it's immediate drop within an hour. So you want good sugars. So the sugar you would get from a bowl of fruit is not going to do that. But the sugar that you would put in your coffee, or if you're having a hot chocolate, or you're having a donut or a muffin, or even brown sugar on your oatmeal, if you get too carby in the morning and have the wrong type of sugars, you are going to have a major energy drop throughout the entire day. So fresh is key. If you're diabetic, go with more of your berries, your low glycemic index fruits, but have your bowl of fruit with some sort of a healthy, I believe, plant-based gluten-free protein, but have a healthy protein-rich item after that. Don't snack. Just wait an hour, drink only water when you're hungry, go into your dinner. Start it with a big salad, and then have your healthy proteins, healthy carbs, vegetables after that. That's your last meal. That's like 2 or 3 o'clock. You should not be hungry by 4, 5, 6 o'clock. You're going to bed on an almost empty stomach, and you wake up feeling like a champion. I'm telling you, I've been doing it for 30 years. It works.
Can intermittent fasting negatively affect hormone balance, especially in women?
No, actually, it will negatively affect if you're fasting from 9 p.m. till 12 o'clock lunchtime, because your hormones are balanced between 9 p.m. and 1 in the morning. You need to have no food during that time. So yes, it will negatively affect your hormones if you're eating at 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night. Even 5 and 6 is too late.
Oh,
but
wow.
if you're intermittent fasting this right way that I've explained, your hormones go into balance so beautifully. Like menopause is not hot flashes and weight gain. That's hormones out of balance. It should just be a missed period and unfortunately a few wrinkles. But that's what menopause is about.
Where does meat figure into this? at all. I know there's a lot of people that are meat eaters. Does meat impede proper intermittent fasting, or can it be part of the process?
So, good question, because I mean, I am a plant-based eater and that's kind of what I lead with, but most of my clients are not plant-based eaters. I just force them to be one while they journey with me. But the thing is that meat will take, so chicken, for instance, will take about 24 hours to leave the system. Beef is going to be 48 hours. Pork is going to be 72 hours. Fish is more along the closer to the 24-hour mark. So you could imagine that during your hours of fasting, your body's still working on that meat. But the truth is, it's probably still working on my beans, but just that will leave before the meat will. So will it inhibit it? You're still fasting. Your initial stomach cavity is going to be emptied in about 4 or 5 hours. So that's good, whether you eat meat or not. Okay. It's just that in the intestinal tract, that process is still going to be very active, and there's going to be a little bit more waste associated with meat products. So yes, even on a meat diet, you can still have this effective fasting. It will be more effective on a plant-based diet, but it can still be effective on an animal diet.
Good. How do you integrate current scientific research with holistic traditions when advising clients?
So here's the truth, is that most of what I've shared with you is medical information. It wasn't founded or in books, and the studies done were done by medical doctors. So again, though, all of this research is based on this false start at 12, eat at 12, and then 8. So on the holistic side, I'm looking at the science, and I'm looking at the human body, and I'm looking at the medical research, and I'm saying there's a lot of truth here, but we've missed the mark. If science is telling us that hormones are balanced at night and the system repairs at night, why are we teaching, even through the medical system, to intermittent fast and eat a meal before bed? That doesn't make sense. So I've used scientific research and the understanding of the human body and the medical studies to come up with a holistic approach that is actually a lot more healing.
And with the holistic approach, how early can, like, say, parents implement this in their households? Like, can this be passed on to children, and how early can it be passed on to children so that they don't have to struggle so much with it in their adulthood?
This is a great question. I love that. So I raised my children. I've got 3 young adults now. So I raised my children this way, fully plant-based. However, what I will tell you is that when they would come home from school for their 3 o'clock snack, that's generally when I would give them their dinner. There were many times, most times, that by 6, 7 o'clock, they were hungry again. That's going to be a much smaller meal. Now they're going to have an apple, or maybe I make them a little smoothie. They're going to have something small in the evening. So if you were homeschooling your children and they were completely under your care as far as their meal timing, you could give them this kind of a rhythm. I would recommend, though, that children under 14 years old, they're still probably going to need that light third meal, but they don't need all these snacks. My kids were not homeschooled, so I'd send snacks with them, eat it only if you need it, but they'd have a big breakfast, and when they came home, they had their dinner rather than a snack. Because you feed a child a snack at 3 o'clock, good luck getting that spinach into them at 5 o'clock when dinner is served. You need a hungry child to eat your lentils and spinach. So when they were like home from school and I know they didn't eat their lunch and they're so hungry, I made this delicious lentil and spinach stew, and they just, they're going to hover it in. So yes, it can be done for children, but depending on whether they're in your care all the time or not, you'd have to kind of tweak it.
I want to go back to what we were talking about before. And I know I asked you about the types of things that you should break your fast with. But when let's look at it in terms of an international perspective, for example. You're eating, there are some places where this concept of breakfast food doesn't exist. You eat what is made, and that's your breakfast. If it's rice and beans, that's what it is. But does that have an effect on the effectiveness of intermittent fasting?
So a very good question. And for instance, I just recently finished doing a program with a client in Africa. He doesn't have all the lettuce and tomatoes and cucumber and celery that I want him to eat. Your body actually adapts to the environment that you're in. But there are other fresh foods that were available to him, vegetables I didn't even know the names of. So there was still there's always a way, like your body wants to eat what's in your environment. That's why it's not very healthy, to be honest, for us to be eating, all of this imported foods. We should be eating what's locally available because that's what our body actually wants. So wherever somebody is in their local environment, their body will adjust and adapt to that. So the fasting, I still got him to do that intermittent fasting. The way he broke his fast was a little different than I would break it here, but it was still extremely effective for him.
Magoo said to Chezu, amazing question, Chezu. I have a conversation piece. Because I know you probably have something at 10:30, because I know you got a lot. Am I correct saying that you got something at the bottom of the hour?
I told him it would be shortly after 10:30.
Okay, 1 or 2. Okay, so as we start winding it down, what is a good beginner strategy for someone who's curious about trying intermittent fasting?
That's a great question. So if you're really locked into this, as Chezu was saying before, like, can you do it slowly rather than like, okay, so now I can't eat dinner and I have to force myself to eat breakfast, but I'm not used to eating breakfast. So go slowly into it. So you're so accustomed to skipping breakfast, just have 1 apple or just have half a cup of strawberries. Just do something to get your metabolism starting to go. Try to eat a bigger meal at lunchtime. And if you need it, have a small salad or a soup at night. So slowly try to get yourself into that rhythm where maybe you can't have a big breakfast because you shut your metabolism off and you've created this, new circadian rhythm in your body. So go slowly into it by just a smaller breakfast, but keep it to fresh. Really try to have a bigger meal at lunch. And if you need it, something very light at night.
What signs should someone look for to know if fasting is working or not for them?
So improved sleep for sure. Their glucose levels should be better. Their blood pressure levels should be better. Your energy should be better. You should notice that when you're working out, you feel like I'm stronger and I can lift more, and your endurance should pick up. Now, if those things aren't happening, then probably what you're eating in that 8-hour window could be not enough calories or too many of the wrong calories. So again, that's why, working with someone like myself, the nutritionist here at the Energy Shack, can help tweak your program for your specific needs.
Any last comments? Because this lady's on the go.
Well, I just, if Dr. Tachi, if you guys have any questions for me, I know that this is like kind of a lot of information to absorb, and some people are like, I've been doing everything wrong. But
No. Are you seeing more and more people coming to you about intermittent fasting?
Yeah, it seems like everybody's doing it, and they're all doing it the wrong way. I rarely, like, it's 1 out of 100 people that are doing it where they're missing dinner. And I'm telling you, these are people that are coming to me doing intermittent fasting, but they're coming to me because their blood sugar is out of control, their blood pressure is out of control, their cholesterol is too high. So is it working for you? You're coming to see me because you can't get rid of the weight. But as soon as I put them on this rhythm, it's amazing. Everything fixes once I obviously get the right meals in that 8 hours. But we literally do not have a fail of helping somebody with their health issues, like not a fail. I never have to say to a client, I'm sorry, I couldn't help you. I tried. That's never happened in 12 years. So, you know, it's, we of course recommend not just intermittent fasting, but we're putting you on 2, 3, or 5 days of a vegetable juice fast to start where you're not eating at all. And we get you to fast regularly. But, you know, fasting, and if we just go back to the beginning of our session, fasting is so healing. Spiritually, physically, mentally, it's so healing. And we need to exercise more self-discipline, self-control, and humility by just going into these fasting periods, even if it's just once a day, or like I said, not eating after 3 o'clock. That takes some discipline, but you should not be hungry. This is not put the food away. This is put the brain away because I'm used to eating. When you have a big salad and a full meal at lunchtime, meat or not meat, you should not be hungry at 5, 6 o'clock.
All right. Any last thoughts, ladies, before we let Energy Shack?
This was amazing, as usual. I always enjoy the second month. Is this second or third Monday?
Second
Monday. Oh, wow. Time is flying. So I always enjoy when you come on because you have such energy, no pun intended, and also such great information. But I do have a quick question, and it's gone just like that. Because I was so into it. And then
it's just the water, Dr. Tachi.
Seriously, it's probably
all right. Well, maybe while you're thinking about it, website energyshackjuicebar.com, email info@energyshackjuicebar.com, Instagram the Energy Shack Juice Bar. Also putting stuff on YouTube Shorts. Facebook Energy Shack Juice Bar. Phone number 647-637-6755. If you have any questions about nutrition, email Carolyn. Tell her you saw in the Morning Vibe. Special offer. Get a consultation for $49 instead of $110 when you mention the Morning Vibe or Dr. Vibe in your email. There's the link for consultations. And all that information, if you've been watching on any of my platforms, is in your comments section. Carolyn, as always, you and your family and your team don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Remember to give yourself grace. And I gave you a few moments before your 10:30.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, really quickly.
She got it.
Do you have a source that you can give, of course, yourself, but there's so much media misinformation and so many trends. Where do we go to ensure that we're doing the right thing?
Okay, very good questions. So I have a book that I use, a couple books actually. They were written in the 1800s. One is called The Ministry of Healing. The other one is Counsel on Foods and Diet. I get most of my information from books and not from the internet. There's another very good book put out in the last 10 years called Proof Positive, written by also a doctor. So these are age-old doctors, and this is age-old information. Agatha Thrash has also put out some really incredible, and I mean, she's passed away now. So this is, like I said, there's nothing new under the sun, but this is information. But Ministry of Healing and Counsels on Food and Diet are two invaluable resources that I've read, probably 15 times, highlighted, every other page. But those are good resources. But I've taken that information and put it on our website. And if you look under the consultation page, I have a video there called The 8 Secrets of Healing. And I really put all of that information into using science and also, holistic understanding of what your diet should look like. Yes, but I do want to say, Dr. Chatsi Chazu, it's like very wonderful, a great honor and privilege to have this conversation with all of us together. Your questions have been great. and what you're doing for the community is incredible. And Dr. Vibe, I appreciate you being the glue that just keeps bringing everybody together. So God bless you guys and your ministries. And
Thank you.
I just feel honored that you would have me talk with you for.
No, you share. You don't talk. You share. Take care. Have a good day. Enjoy the snow.
God bless you guys. God bless you,
And
audience, for coming out and taking the time. That's a valuable.
Enjoy the snow and keep it where you are. Take care.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
All right. That is it for today. Well, no. Any final thoughts? Actually, I'm going to put up a poll just to ask everybody, how did you enjoy today's show? So if you're watching on YouTube, put in the comment section from 1 to 5 what you thought about today's conversation. Would love to know, get your feedback in real time. And the poll is there. That's what it's looked like. So once you put in from 1 to 5, and hopefully you'll respond. Ladies, any comments?
It was amazing. Like I learned a lot. I didn't know that there's a wrong way to do the fast. I didn't know that. I thought that if you're just fasting, then it should be fine. And learning all the details from her, and also that it's a mental muscle that you have to work before you just dive into it. Yeah, it was really enriching.
Dr. Tachi.
Well, first of all, this was so great to actually be on live with her. This is the first time I've actually met her, right, virtually, and she's just such a wealth of information, and she gives it freely, which I love. I too, the thing about, I was like 3 o'clock.
That's what I do. My heaviest meal I've had by 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah, it's a mindset thing.
It definitely is a mindset thing, and I think also society has set it up so that you're at work, and that's just, you're almost just into your day at 3. Some people are trying to leave, but they can't. And so depending on what you do, by the time you do leave work, you're ravenous because you're not eating the whole time there. So work has really, especially corporate work, has really thrown off the way that we eat and do things. So I blame you too, corporate America.
OMG. Chezu, any final thoughts?
Oh my, I loved it. Again, I love Dr. Tachi again. It was so nice meeting you. You're hilarious. You're so funny.
Oh, thank you.
Media comedy professor.
Yes. Honestly, I do see it, and I hope I can get a chance to interview you and talk.
Say less. Tell me when. Seriously, you are so wonderful. The energy that you bring, Dr. Vibe, you tend to attract people with such good energy. And I mean, you have a good spirit of discernment anyway, so you wouldn't have rubbish on anyway. But Jesse, you're just wonderful, and I'm so glad that I was able to co-host with you today.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
This is fantastic. So for people, we won't be doing a show on Good Friday. We're going to take it up in the air if we'll do anything on Easter Monday. Don't know yet. We'll see. Let's see if we have any more comments. Okay, so Serena Wills says, great show. She also gives clap emojis. To be expected when Carolyn is on. Also, the Macmillan Group says, great to hear that Carolyn say what her sources are. Not much is really new. Thanks, Carolyn. Great conversation as usual. Teresa says, yes, it was nice to meet Dr. Tachi virtual. So there's a Jesu and Dr. Tachi fan club going on.
Yay.
What is up with that? Like, what am I saying? And just to give you some results of our poll, everyone who voted, 5 out of 5.
Woohoo.
5 out of 5. So,
Dr. Vibe, I don't know why you keep doing this cockamamie poll, because you know that it's going to be 5 out of 5. Let's not kid ourselves here. Who's going to say the show was bloody terrible? Nobody's going to say that, Dr. Vibe.
You never know. We don't want to make assumptions.
you don't want to make assumptions, but you also know that you have a good product here. Let's be clear. You have an excellent show. You've been doing this for a long time. So whoever doesn't like this, stop watching.
Were you watching what was going on Saturday too?
No,
Lala, right after the break, before we got into our conversation on Primetime Saturday, Lala said, "Wait a minute, Dr. Vibe," and she gave me like 5 minutes of flowers, and I didn't expect it, and I don't expect it. I just do what I do for all of you. I don't do what I do alone. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than me.
But that's why you are where you're supposed to be. That you are. It's not just about having shows. It's about serving through those shows, and you're just being you. You just are doing what you do, and that's why it comes from a pure and authentic place. So nobody bloody is going to put 5. Okay, I mean, or 1. Everybody's going to put 5.
Well, a long time ago, a gentleman told me success has 3 S's in it: service, sacrifice, and selflessness. Always remember that. Macmillan Group says, you are correct, Dr. Tachi. Those 45-minute lunches are killing us literally and figuratively.
And listen, when you drop over, they will find somebody to replace you. So sad. Who's next?
But it's true.
It is.
It's true.
But see, this is the thing, and not to get into a whole other thing, but years ago, one of my friends was dating this guy who was a production person in New York. And if you remember at the time remember the singer Aaliyah, when she passed away from that plane crash, well, he knew some of the people because they were production people. And he was saying they were just like, for a moment, they're like, oh, well, that's really sad. Okay, who can we get to do this next video? They don't care.
Oh my God.
It's the bottom line. So if it's about, and this is what I had to start telling myself, of course, now I work from home, but when I was a full-time professor in the classroom, I remember whenever we went to a conference, mind you, this builds them for us to go to conferences. So whenever I went to a conference or we would go, we're like, oh, well, we have class at, Wednesday night, so I have to get back. And I would do that I said, wait the hell a minute. I am not going back. I'm taking the whole week, and that's too bad for that. Fire me then. And they would never. So I'm like, okay, if you don't like it, then you just get rid of me. They would never. So instead of going just for 3 days, when the conference was in Vegas, I would go from Saturday to Saturday and challenge anybody to say anything about it. So take your 1-hour lunch. Don't rush. Chew your food thoroughly.
Yes.
Because they don't care.
Serena says, yep, they'll sure replace you in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So Chezu, when's the interview of Dr. Tachi coming up, or is okay, hold on. When is Chezu going to be on Mediascope? Who's going to get?
Oh, yeah, that's another thing too.
Yes, get Chezu on Mediascope. I think she should be, especially in the area of pop culture.
Oh my God, yeah.
Okay, definitely.
It's a done deal. All right, let's see. I just see alignment there, and I just put it out there. All right. Again, if you want to get a hold of Dr. Tachi directly, Instagram. There's Indie Suit Media. Chezu is there. Chezu Ches _rights on Instagram. So many things. Subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. Like the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Here's the information to join the Discord group. Email me or the link. Advertise your business, product, or service on any of the platforms that I'm on. That's that. Cannot forget, he wasn't here today, Mr. Ryan Knight, RyanOneilKnight.com. That's right, Knight with a K-N, not an N. And Ryan Oneil Knight on LinkedIn, Instagram at Ryan.Knight99. Email, work with me, Ryan Oneil, OneilKnight.com. There's all the stuff for me. A long time ago, a lady that we both know in the past, Ava Laura, said Dr. Vibe's Googleicious. So just put Dr. Vibe and you'll see me. I can say all the things, but I give it all to you. But also catch me on Substack. And I'm gonna challenge myself in the next week or two to write an article and put it on Substack.
Me too.
Yeah, that definitely fit. If you are a writer, I would suggest check out Substack. Check it out. And Blue Sky at drvibe.bsky.social. And if people, I would actually say, if you're a writer, I'd say definitely get on Substack. A lot of people still haven't really got into it, but a lot of people are on there and getting a lot of great traction. And you can offer either free material or paywall. And the McMillan goes, take your 1 hour and throw in a 15-minute nap.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Love it. That is amazing. Love it. All right. So, and you can catch replays of this on the Dr. Vibe Show, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, Afro Caribbean Business Network. You can catch it also, and Ryan Oneil Knight on YouTube. So as we close it out, it was so good to have both of you. Thank you so much. I had a feeling both you would vibe well together, since you just have lots of wonderful things to say. But as always, live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions. Aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Remember to give yourself grace. And if you're not making money, make history. Try to do both and make it better. For those who celebrate it, happy Easter. For those who celebrate it, happy Passover. And everybody else, happy. Bye.
This whole thing of using your business with plant-based products, don't you think your life should reflect that too?
Juke him, Carolyn. Juke him. The family loves us here because they're saying Fitness IQ Can says put a wig on to get in.
Oh God. Oh my God.
Like the ideas are just coming fast and furious here this morning. What? Okay, look at this. Global Women Ambassador. Good morning. Look forward. Okay.